guys, this is going to be it. So we're just at Stall Down Barrow here, and we're at this cairn, we think. And basically a cairn is for the countryside walkers. So as they're wandering along, as you can see it's really misty right now, so the walkers can see the cairn and they know they're on the right footpath, and the walkers are supposed to pick up a rock and add it to the cairn. So we've all added our rocks to the cairn.
That way. See the sea, life's good. We're at a trig point, it's got a bit of a pond round it.
We've had to change our route because of the river. We couldn't cross the river that we're supposed to cross in, and now we're changing it again so that we don't have to walk a really long way around. We're at the campsite now. We got here at 8 o'clock. We did 10 hours of walking and we walked over 20 kilometres, which was more than we were supposed to. We were only supposed to walk 18. But yeah, it's 10 o'clock now. We've just finished our dinner and we're just tidying up ready for bed. And yeah, we've had a good day. It's been hard like walking through all the long grass and stuff, but none of us have got ticks, so
stay tuned.
Yeah, we just left the campsite and we've got 19.8 kilometres to walk.
On Dartmoor, pixies or piskies, the Old English version of the word, are a large part of folklore. Piskies are little folk who live on the moor in seclusion, mining for tin and gold. They do not take kindly to people who taunt them, and are said to have cursed anyone who crossed them. There is a tale of a miner who came across some piskies, and having accidentally ruined their home, they struck him with bad luck for the rest of his life. Another story is that a farmer in Sheepstore, where we are now, woke to find piskies in his kitchen and felt the urge to taunt them. Through a crack in his floorboards, he dropped a large fencing staple, which would have been enormous to the piskies, and only narrowly missed one of them. The next day he went to check on the hay he had cut, and to his shock it was burnt to ashes. Hearing laughing, he looked up and saw a piskie, who pointed to something at the farmer's feet and then ran into the woods. Looking where the piskie had pointed, he found a blackened fencing staple. From that day on, the farmer always left a glass of milk and a slice of bread by his fire each night, and in return would often find odd jobs done for him, such as sweeping, and occasionally his tools sharpened.
Okay, so we're just at the campsite now. This is the second night. Woo!
In my tummy.
Ooh! I'm doing a really good voice.
No, please don't. Just do it.
Stories of piskies have been handed down through generations of people on Dartmoor. The myth is also found throughout the rest of Devon and also in Cornwall as pigsies, and Somerset as pixies, and in Dorset as peskies. Origins of the legend of pixies are unknown, but one belief is that they led back to the character Puck in Shakespeare A Midsummer Night's Dream, a mischievous elf known for playing tricks, and the people of the West Country took this and created a mythical creature out of it. Another theory is there are pagan spirits who were not allowed to enter heaven because of their beliefs. This is thought to be a story told by Christians in medieval times to stop people from practicing paganism. The final idea of the origin of the pixies is that the Romans and Saxons invaded the supposedly much smaller Celtic people, and they fled to the moor eventually and became piskies.
Day 3, we're wild camping. Woo!
How long have we been going for today?
8 hours. Woo!
How far have we gone?
Maybe like 16 kilometers. Bye. See you tomorrow.
It's day 4!
Sometime around the early 1900s, a series of accidents were reported along the stretch of the B3212 road, which runs from Busbridge to Two Bridges. Cyclists said how suddenly the handlebars of their bikes were wrenched out of their hands, forcing the bike into a ditch. Pony and carts were also forced off the road onto the verge. Drivers and cars and motorway coaches were experiencing the same occurrences.
In 1921, Dr. Helby from Princetown had his motorcycle and sidecar suddenly forced out of control. His 2 children were tossed out of the sidecar and sadly the doctor was killed. Jesus. Not long after this tragic event, an army officer was injured when his motorcycle was driven off the road. He lived to tell the tale, and the one that he told was that of muscular, hairy hands clamping over his and forcing the bike into the verge. The Daily Mail soon picked up the story, and the ghostly events became headline news. There is a tale that later that year, a bus carrying some tourists along the stretch of road had an unfortunate encounter with the hairy hands. Apparently the vehicle was merrily speeding along when suddenly it swerved and shot across to the other side of the road and hit a bank. At this time, seatbelts were not compulsory, and so several of the passengers were thrown out of the bus, one of which was seriously injured. Afterwards, the driver reported that a pair of ghastly hairy hands had grabbed the wheel and forced him off the road. More recent reports of the hairy hands include, in 1962, a visitor to Dartmoor, Florence Warwick, was driving along the road when wanting to check her location. She stopped the car to look at a map. In her words, "I looked up and saw a pair of huge hairy hands pressed against the windscreen. I tried to scream but couldn't, I was frozen with fear. In 2008, another motorist reported that he saw a huge pair of what looked like hairy paws grab his steering wheel in an attempt to force him off the road.
The Hunter Stone is a large boulder inscribed with the names of the members of the Masters of Dartmoor Foxhounds, a hunting organisation, in 1948. It was commissioned by the owner of Brent Moor House, who wanted to honour the tradition of hunting in the area, since thankfully outlawed in a 2004 Hunting Act.
Right, big thanks
For you.
big thanks to Bob and Daisy.
Thank you so much. Being our instructor.
So you wouldn't have
Pranksters.
you'd have kept this in your rucksack if you'd have deferred you for next
Yeah, if you we'd have taken our belongings and whatsoever. Yeah, yeah, just because that's a perfect way to describe it, honestly. Absolutely fuming. That's mine, but it's broken.
Yeah.
How many ticks have we got left?
Oh, I forgot about those bad boys.
So far, I don't think we've had any.
I don't think I've got any.
Mind
you,
you,
I've
fell
not-
over quite a bit in on
Yeah,
grass.
God, yeah. Swamp grass.
Rumors prank. Have you seen this? Genius prankster.
Jeez.
That's brilliant, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It's been
And
great.
seriously,
I think
it's
you
been
should frame
great.
those cards.
I will do, actually, I will keep that. That's really good.